Hi guys, and welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be looking at this Sony TC399 reel-to-reel tape recorder machine, so let's dive right in. So the first question we've got to ask ourselves is why in the modern digital era are we using an old tape recorder like this? Well, vintage reel-to-reel tape recorders like this Sony TC399 are actually quite rare, but they can give us some real nice analog warmth to our recordings, even in the digital domain. Back in a time that some of us audiophiles regard the golden era of music, so the 50s, 60s and 70s, reel-to-reel tape machines like this were the height of technology, and they were so desirable that everybody wanted one. Of course, the costs were very high and not everyone could afford them, especially not home hobby recordists. But those musicians who were able to acquire one of these machines, especially professional studios, they really reaped the rewards of the beautiful golden analog sound that we all came to know and love. So machines like this Sony TC399 tape recorder are quite rare, especially considering it was made in 1978. Typically these machines tend to get neglected over the years. If you don't keep on top of servicing them and keep them in good shape, they tend to underperform, and then they get passed on from owner to owner, and eventually they just end up getting junked. And that is a crying shame, because these reel-to-reel recorders are actually amazing pieces of engineering and should be looked after like they're works of art. So whether I'm recording, mixing or mastering music for myself or other artists, I tend to use this Tascam Model 16. It's an amazing analog recording console that records directly to digital, and this really is a fantastic benchmark for modern audio fidelity. So what I'd like to do today is share with you a piece of music that was recorded directly into the Tascam Model 16. We're going to bounce that out to the reel-to-reel and then back into the Tascam Model 16. Then, when we've got both pieces of music inside the door, we can do some critical analytical listening and see if we can hear a difference between the two. Now there's a heck of a lot to know about the Sony TC399 tape recorder, so I think it's time for a montage. So guys, before we get stuck into the audio analysis of this reel-to-reel machine, please take a moment to like the video and subscribe to the channel. It helps me to know that you're just as into this as I am. I really do appreciate it, and I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comment section below. I always try to get back to every comment. So thanks guys. Now on with the rest of the video. So back in the day, pre-digital, most professional studios recorded at 15 or 30 inches per second. This is only half that at 7.5 inches per second. But that being said, a professionally maintained reel-to-reel recorder that records at 7.5 inches per second can deliver audiophile quality music. It really is startling how good the audio can be. The second thing we've got to mention is tape. It's absolutely vital that you use good quality tape. Now today we're going to be using a brand new TDK Audio tape, which is basically like a high bias tape which should give us the best signal to noise ratio and give us incredibly good fidelity. So the third thing that's a fantastic feature about this TC399 model is that it actually records on one head and plays back from another simultaneously, so we can actually monitor the audio in real time and send that back into the Tascam Model 16. Due to the mechanical nature of a reel-to-reel machine, quite often when you record music and try and sync it back up with digital, it tends to waver out of time. But for us, thanks to this machine, we can actually listen to the playback directly from the tape head as we're recording in real time, and that should completely eliminate any syncing up issues that any lesser model might have given us. So let's have some fun and dive into the audio. I strongly recommend listening through good quality headphones or speakers. As I always say, it only matters what comes out of the speakers, so let's use our ears to do the listening. Okay guys, here we are in the door. As you can see, I've got both tracks loaded in now. So on channel 1, we've got the stereo file for the original digital recording, and on track 2, we've got the stereo file for the reel-to-reel. As you can see, there are a few little differences visually, and hopefully we'll be able to hear just as much. So let's start off by listening to the digital track, followed by the reel-to-reel track, and then we'll do back-to-back comparisons so we can hear exactly what's going on. Here's the original digital track. Okay, so now let's listen to the reel-to-reel version. Okay, so that was interesting. To my ears, I'm hearing a little bit more glue in the reel-to-reel version. It's a little bit harder to define all of the instruments as it is in track 1. Track 1, which is the original source, everything's really clear and very well defined, which you'd expect from digital. And then on the reel-to-reel version, I'm hearing a lot more bleed or crossover, which is generated by harmonic distortion, which kind of helps glue things together a little bit more. Okay, so what I've done now is I've chopped out sections of each track so we can listen to them back to back. So first we're going to hear the original, then we're going to hear the reel-to-reel, then back to the original, and finishing off with the reel-to-reel once more. I attenuated the volume of both tracks at the recording stage, so everything's set to 0 and there's no effects applied to either track. Here we go. Okay, so listen to the tracks back to back like this. I can hear that the reel-to-reel is a little bit hotter, the bias or the EQ seems to be a little bit more sharp. When we listen to the digital version, it does seem to be a little darker, a little bit more muddy. Although having said that, I'm not sure if the reel-to-reel version sounds a little bit too sharp. It sounds almost like it's slightly over EQ'd for the high end. So let's have another final listen and see if we can conclusively hear the difference. Here we go. So guys, what did you think to that? Could you hear a difference? Do you now think there's any value in these old vintage reel-to-reel machines the same way that I do? So for me, as a music writer, recorder, producer, and an audiophile, I see huge value in these. Recording reel-to-reel is not for everybody, and I get that. But if you're like me and you really do care about capturing the best possible audio signal right from the very source all the way through the process to the very end, and producing a music recording that you know is the very best you could do, then I really strongly consider thinking about picking up one of these old vintage reel-to-reel recorders. So I think that just about wraps up the video for today, guys. Thanks for watching, please leave a like and subscribe, and I'll catch you in the next one. So until next time, keep making music.